God is on the throne and prayer change this thing. Father, we give you the praise. We give you the glory, O God. Thank you, O God, for anointing your prophet, your servant, O God, to inspire your people, O God, and to awaken them, O God, to the reality of life, O God. Have the preeminence, I pray, O God, in this place, O God, and with the audience that will be listening as well, O God. I give you the praise, I give you the glory in Jesus' name and for his name's sake, amen. The title of this message today is, Do You See What's Coming Around the Corner? Do you see what's coming around the corner? Many of us in life, we walk down the street and we have to turn the corner, but we can't see what's around there. And all of a sudden, when you turn that corner, and you may see someone you're afraid of, someone you may be trying to avoid, and you didn't see it because you didn't know what was around the corner. But you know, we must turn the corner of life. But we don't know what's on the other side. Can we see our future? Once we pass a moment in time, we can't go back. There's no time machine to take us back to the past. How many movies you and I have gone to where it deals with a time machine? And one of the reasons we go to a movie like that is we like the idea to be able to go back and change something in the past. But it's only a movie, or in many cases, it's only a dream. For there's only the present and the future that's awaiting us. I would like to tell you today about tomorrow. I would like to tell you what's around the corner using the Word of God, the Bible. The Bible gives us insight about what to expect and how to prepare for today and tomorrow. Ecclesiastes 12, starting with verse 1.
Remember now your Creator in the days of your youth, before the difficult days come, and the years draw near when you say, I have no pleasure in them.
I like to look at this particular verse and break it up in its parts. Verse 1 starts with, Remember your Creator. Remember who made you and why. Psalms 100, verse 3.
Know that the Lord, He is God. It is He who has made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture.
And Psalms 139, verse 13.
For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb.
You and I were not just made for self-pleasing only. It says in 100 verse 3, we acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us, and we are the work of his hands. He put everything together inside of us. He molded us, even in the womb. He told Jeremiah in chapter 1 of Jeremiah, before I formed thee in your mother's belly, he says, before I formed you in your mother's belly, and before you came out of her womb, I'd already had a purpose for your life. And in the case of Jeremiah, I have already ordained you a prophet. Revelations 4, verse 11. And so when God made us, he made us for a purpose. And what was that purpose?
You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created.
For thy pleasure, it says in one translation, they are and were created. In your youth, you have to know that your Creator has a purpose for your life. And when you do not fulfill that purpose, there is no time machine to take you back, because you don't know one day you're going to turn the corner. You only know what you see on the block that you're on, what you can see, using what you can hear, what you can feel, what you can touch, what you can smell. Your five senses are designed for today. You can't smell tomorrow. You can't hear tomorrow. You can't even see tomorrow. You can't touch tomorrow. You can only use your five senses today. Proverbs 16, verse 4.
The Lord has made all for himself, yes, even the wicked for the day of doom.
God has made all things for himself. That includes all of us. He even made the wicked, knowing that they would be wicked, but he made them with a purpose. The second part of this verse says, before the evil day comes. Wow. Remember, you're created in the days of your youth. Why? Because when you turn the corner, it's an evil day. Unbeknown to you, there's an evil day waiting around the corner. And God has created that day. And unbeknown to us, that day starts before we turn the corner. The day that I want to describe, remember the title, Do You See What's Coming Around the Corner? Don't forget the title of the message. That evil day refers to the grievance and the inconveniences of old age. What's waiting for you around the corner? Old age. And it's already started today. But when you turn that corner, it's called an evil day. It's called an evil day. There are the aging where you begin to feel it with your body symptoms. There's the aging that you begin to feel with your mental symptoms. There's the emotions of desire and aspirations when they are dulled. And there's the emotions of apprehension, self-distrust, and fear increase. Then it's the natural termination of old age. It's natural. It comes on you naturally. As you're walking down the block that you're on, you are aging, but you haven't turned the corner. So while we're aging, we're having fun, we're in school, we're laughing, we're at the playground, we're doing all kinds of things, not realizing what's round the corner. Psalms 90, verse 10. So we are unaware. But then as young people, we go to what they call funerals. And we still don't see what's round the corner. We'll leave the funeral and forget what we saw. Psalms 90, verse 10.
The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years. Yet their boast is only labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away.
We don't realize that God has already set a limitation. And he makes sure what he created finds us. So he put it in us, and the clock starts ticking the day you breathe your first breath. You start aging, but you did not turn the corner. The aging process starts on the block that we are on. But we don't realize that God has already designed at certain times of your walk, in your body, in your mind, the clock is ticking and you don't see what's round the corner. You don't know when you're going to forget where you put the glasses. You don't know that day is coming, but it's coming. And so I don't want to get there yet. The length of our days is 70 years. Not like it was in Genesis from Adam to Noah, when the average expectation of life was 948 years. Or not like the first 5 generations after the flood, where they lived half of the 948. Or the next 5 generations that it was cut in half from that. Or the days of Abraham, who lived 175, or Isaac, his son, to live 180, or Jacob, who when he stood before Pharaoh and Pharaoh asked him his age, he says, my age and time has not been like my father, 180, or my grandfather, 175. My days, he says, are full and evil. He was already blind. Yet his father still had his sight at 180, and his grandfather had his sight at 170, but he was already blind. And he says, my strength is not like my forefathers. This day I'm only 140 and something, and I'm already walking with a cane, and I'm blind. If by reason of strength, it says we may get to 80. Yet their pride is but labor and sorrow, for they quickly pass away, because one day we all must fly away. And the third part of this verse 1 says, when the years draw near, when the years approach, you are caught by time and you can't get away from the reality that you can't get back to your youth. You can't get away from the reality that you can't get back to your health. You come to the reality that you can't work with the vigor and the strength and the determination that you once had when you was younger. Ecclesiastes 2, verse 18.
Then I hated all my labor, in which I had toiled under the sun, because I must leave it to the man who will come after me.
Continue.
And who knows whether he will be wise or a fool? Yet he will rule over all my labor, in which I toiled, and in which I have shown myself wise under the sun.
I did certain things with my children where I gave them an opportunity to do something that would be productive, that would bring them wealth. And they don't know how I accumulated with what I have. I do. So I wanted to see what they would do. In other words, how would they continue to cause the tree to grow and be fruitful? And they failed. But I wanted them to see it. And I wanted them to see me see. I wanted them to see me watch them fail so that they could succeed when I leave. I was hoping that they will learn from their mistake. How it's better to listen to someone who's wise, who has already accumulated something, than rather listening to themselves, who only have a dream. Many that have children are already forgotten. You raise children. And I remember when my mother-in-law was injured, and I would go up there once a week or twice a week to see her. And I would go up by myself. I would leave my job and go see her. And I never forget the pain that she had one day on her face when she said to me, I had 10 kids, and only 1 or 2 come to see me now. Yet when she was living at home, the kids that came to her for money came every week. But when she had no money and she was injured, she didn't see them. And she said to me, with tears, she said to me, you do something to get them to come to see me. So I put on plays at the nursing home. I invited their children to participate. And so I got the children of her children and gave them parts and had my children. And so the parents, her children, came to see their children in the nursing home perform. That's how I tricked them to get there. In your old age, the child you're looking at in your young age is a high probability will forget you. That the phone won't ring maybe but once a week. And that you may not see them other than Christmas and Thanksgiving. The reality, or they may move away from where you live. But when they are young, they can't move away. They're with you. You don't know what's coming around the corner. You don't see it. Ecclesiastes 2, verse 21.
For there is a man whose labor is with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, yet he must leave his heritage to a man who has not labored for it. This also is vanity and a great evil.
A parent who is diligent in providing a shelter for their family, a roof over their head, clothes for the family, and food for their belly, only to see a child that will not get up to do anything. The child will not clean their room. The child will not get a job. If they get a job, they can't keep a job. That parent sees that their labor is going to be wasted the day they die. You don't see what's coming around the corner. It's good to enjoy life as you are going through it rather than to prepare for retirement. When I worked at the places that I worked, I hung out with older people, and many of them died on the job. Most of them died of cancer. How sad it was that the person that I went to lunch with was no more. Yet the company had all kind of benefits. 401ks, pension plans, stock. It had all kind of things. And so I retired 6 years earlier so that I could enjoy my life earlier. Well, my wife said on her 60th birthday, I would like you to come home. And because she's older than me, that same weekend of her birthday, I went to my job and told them I was retiring so that I could enjoy my retirement while I had health, while I could see, while I still could walk into the water at the beach. Because by hanging out with the older people at the job, I got an idea what was around the corner. You know, when I was, I think 40 or something, I decided to take my family to Las Vegas. And me and another family, we went. And before we got there, the family that I was with was older than me. Before the plane landed, because of their age and their health, we spent the first day and a half in Iara. And so we had already planned what we would do every day. But we already lost a day and a half. And I didn't realize that these people that I hung out with when I was 15 and 16 and we got saved together and went into the church, and I was in my early 20s, but they weren't in their early 20s. They were 2, 3, and 4 years older than me. I began to see what it meant when you took elderly people with you on a trip, because both the husband and the wife was already handicapped. And I began to say, oh my God. And I began to mark down things about vacations. And I realized there was 4 or 5 things that most people don't realize if you buy a timeshare, if you go get a resort, or you one of these packages that they got. So we purchased what we call the Discovery package while we was there in Las Vegas. Both of us did. But the following year, because you had a year to use the package, because they were still sick throughout the whole year, we couldn't travel together like we did when we went to Las Vegas. But he called the place, and they gave us an extension, an extra year. But I decided I would not wait for them anymore, because I realized your health can keep you from going on a trip, even when you had the money and you had the time and you had people you wanted to go with. So I began to say, let me see what's around the corner using the people that is already there. And I realized things you need to be able to enjoy a vacation: money. You have to catch a plane, rent a car. You got to eat while you are there, so you need money. Time, especially if you're young and you're working, you have to ask for leave on your jobs. You also need good health, because you could have time and money, but you needed good health to be able to go and enjoy. You can't be in ER most of the time you're there. And you have to have the right fellowship. You can't just go with anyone that's contrary to what you want to do. And if you want to go horseback riding, or you want to go to a club, or you want to go to a show, or you want to go swimming, it's good when you go with someone else and you don't go alone. So your company should be the right company. And so there was various things, and there were other things, and I marked them all down, because I could call my family members and ask them, hey, all of y'all come, I got a room for all of you. And the reply was no from everyone, because I was saved and they were unsaved at that time. And they didn't want to be around me because they thought I would preach Jesus to them. So it is good to enjoy life as you are going through life, because coming around the corner, when you get around that corner, the time may not be there. The money may not be there. The health may not be there. And most of all, the friends that you have today, I'll guarantee you, when you turn that corner, they won't be turning the corner with you, because some of them have already passed away. Some of them have got health issues. There's accidents and things. Some of them, because of financial situations, they're not going to be able to turn that corner with you. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 22. Do you see what's coming around the corner? Is the title of this message. Do you see? Do you see? Ecclesiastes 3, 22.
So I perceived that nothing is better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his heritage.
And so I began to enjoy my work. I came home. I planted fruit trees. I started going to trips. I took my friends on trips with me. One of them back there, we went to Las Vegas. We went to New Orleans. We went to San Diego. Went to Boston. And I would take people on the trips. And they, like my wife and the people that would go, would like to do things. They wanted to go to certain restaurants. They wanted to see certain places. And most of the time, I went with them to be their chauffeur. And other times, I let them go together so they could enjoy and fellowship and have communion together, I had a person in my Bible class at the company where I used to work, and that person approached me one day and said, I bought a package for my bishop of my church, and he died on me. And she said to me, because I've been coming to this Bible study, I want to give it to you. And so, but it came with a what they call a what? With strings. I have to go there with you every time. So that person had me one-on-one for philosophy, for history, for politics, for Bible studies, but Denise came as well, And so I gave that person and Denise 2 to 3 days of the week to be alone, to go shopping and walk, and do what girls do, And then I would be alone with Denise on certain days, and then I would be alone with the person that I went with. Because life is enjoying and having communion. And in the book of Acts, the first thing they did was they started going to house and breaking bread. But they said they also continued in the temple. So I have seen that there's nothing better for a man than to enjoy his work, because that is his lot. Because he knows it's coming. For who can bring him to see what will come after him? You can see the past, but you can't see the future. And a lot of people, they are saving for retirement that will never come. Ecclesiastes 2:26. So I begin to tell the people at where I worked, look, don't you see what's around the corner? And they will continue to prepare. And so I told some of them that they should retire, because one of the benefits the company I work for gave me is, we will give you what other Social Security would normally pay you, we will pay you, and you don't even have to go to Social Security. So those 6 years that I retired early, they gave me a large amount of money every year for those 6 years. Basically around $200,000 I got free. Because of the benefit. So I told them about that benefit, but they didn't see. And so when their retirement came, 4 or 5 of them already had the cancer. I was going to the hospital to visit the ones that looked like they were that deaf, and 2 of them did die. Go ahead, Ecclesiastes 2:26.
For God gives wisdom and knowledge and joy to a man who is good in his sight.
Go ahead.
But to the sinner he gives the work of gathering and collecting.
And so they continued to gather and collect. But God gave me wisdom and understanding. Job 38, verse 36.
Who has put wisdom in the mind, or who has given understanding to the heart?
God gave me this gift. He gave me the gift to see around the corner before I got there, watching people who had already turned the corner. Proverbs 3, verse 13 through 18.
Happy is the man who finds wisdom.
And so happy was a man, that was me, because I found wisdom. Continue.
And the man who gains understanding.
And I also gained understanding. Go ahead.
For her proceeds are better than the profits of silver.
Because I met her. I didn't get smart. I didn't get knowledge. I met her. Her proceeds. I met them. I met wisdom, and I met understanding. Continue.
And her gain than fine gold.
Her gain. She began to tell me, don't try to get so much money and retire. Retire and enjoy the money you already have. Take your trips now while you're healthy, because round the corner, I'm sending someone to get your health. Do you understand? And said, do you understand what my sister is saying to you? And so they let me see examples in front of me who turned the corner. Continue.
She is more precious than rubies.
See, she was more, not it, not wisdom the it, but she was more precious than any ruby or anything, the 401k, the retirement. She was more precious. She, not it. Continue.
And all the things you may desire cannot compare with her.
Nothing that I was planning to retire with and get and accumulate could compare to meeting her. Go ahead.
Length of days is in her right hand, in her left hand riches and honor.
In her right hand was my health, and how I would enjoy my days when I turned the corner. Read that part again.
Length of days is in her right hand, in her left hand riches and honor.
And then she says, I'm going to make sure when you go on your vacation, You have money to enjoy it, health to do it, the people that you need and want with you, and the people that can do things that you like to do, and you can fellowship with them and help and let them enjoy the things they like to do. She had them in both hands, and she says, I'm going to give it to you because you met me and my sister. Do you understand? And understand and say, do you understand what my sister is saying? Continue.
Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace.
So she says, retire early. Enjoy this. Go this. Why? Go to the beach now. Walk in the water, because tomorrow when you turn that corner, you're not getting in that water. Open the door now on your resort and hear the waves. Why? Because tomorrow you won't hear that water hitting the shore, even with your doors open. Continue.
She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her.
And so I found life walking with her and her sister. And I sound like a crazy man to those people that were still trying to prepare for retirement, that they're not going to even get to enjoy when they turn the corner. Continue.
And happy are all who retain her. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth.
And so I want to go ahead and go to Proverbs 9, verse 1 to 6, to tell you about her. You find her and watch what she gives you from her right hand, and watch what she gives you from her left.
Wisdom has built her house.
She builds her house. Go ahead.
She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here.
So she knows people are planning for something they're never going to get. She knows that. So she sends out her maidens and say, go get the people that love God, so that I can tell them and share with them what I have in my right hand, what's in my left hand, and I can introduce them to my sister. Continue.
As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed.
And so she says, come to my house. Why? My sister comes to eat with me every day. And if you come into my house, I'll introduce my sister to you. Continue.
Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. He who corrects a scoffer gets
Okay,
shamed.
that's good. And so look in Proverbs 8, 1 to 4. Her sister now.
Does not wisdom cry out, and understanding lift up her voice?
Notice that it's to hers. Wisdom cries out, and understanding also lifts up her voice. Do you understand, my sister? If not, I'll help you. I'll show you people going around who's already around the corner. And I say, see what my sister told you? Look at it. Look at it. Look at the reality. Look at those already around the corner. Get understanding. Get it. Continue.
She takes her stand on the top of the high hill, beside the way where the paths meet.
She knows where to catch you, going to work. Laboring, not knowing who you're leaving it to, because you don't know what's around the corner. You don't see it coming. Continue.
She cries out by the gates, at the entry of the city, at the entrance of the doors.
Where everybody is going to be part of everybody wants to be in the city. Do you know how much homes cost in the city compared to those out of the city? You know what it's like to live on, how much a house costs that is old and broken down on Capitol Hill? There in Washington, D.C., for those that are listening to me, it's ridiculous. And all the people running to the city, because that's where you get your jobs. That's where you make all your money. She stands there and say, boy, you're laboring for the wind. Continue.
To you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men.
And I'm calling all of y'all sons of men, so that you can be born again and become a son of God. Continue.
O you simple ones, understand prudence. And you fools, be of an understanding heart.
And so wisdom and understanding, they. So the last part of verse 1 says, I have no delight in them. When you turn the corner, you will not be able to enjoy your days. You will not be able to enjoy your time. You will not be able to enjoy your health. You will not be able to enjoy your family. You will not be able to enjoy life. You will come to the point where you say, I don't want to live. The children are not calling you. You don't get to see the grandkids. There's no intimacy in the marriage. People in the home, but it's quietness. The person you may sleep with, there's no communication. And so you come to the point where I have no delight in them. The purpose of life is lost. The reason for living is forgotten. Nothing pleases you anymore. You don't enjoy life any longer. Every day catches you and take you away some of your reason. Every day catches you and take away some of your reason for living. So every day, every time tomorrow comes, it takes you away the reason to continue to live. You know, suicide in America was up 40% last year between 18 and 65. 40% increase in suicide. If you go to a doctor today, the first thing they give you is a survey with 30 questions on it to see if there's a possibility you are the next victim of suicide or taking your own life. Listen to what I just said. In 2021 in America, there was a 40% increase from 18 to 65. People have lost a reason to live because they turned the corner. 2 Samuel 19, verse 35.
I am today 80 years old. Can I discern between the good and bad? Can your servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any longer the voice of singing men and singing women?
And so he says, do I have any delight in life? He says, I'm 80 years old. Can I discern what is good and what is not? It's as if my mind is already fried and burned. He said, can I taste even what I eat without hot sauce or with something else on it to try to give it taste? Or can I taste a drink? You remember how things tasted when you were young and already you go back to buy that what you used to enjoy and it doesn't have the same taste? Can we go to verse 2? Ecclesiastes 12, verse 2.
While the sun and the light, the moon and the stars are not darkened, and the clouds do not return after the rain.
Now you have impaired vision. When you turn the corner, guess what's going to be waiting for you? Impaired vision. Before the clouds return after the rain, those are clouds of depression. Why? Because what returns after the rain? The sun. Instead, when you turn the corner, after the rain, clouds will come back for more rain. You don't see the sun anymore. You don't see the light. You can't enjoy. And so the rain means your tears. The tears of depression. Because after the storm, you're not running out like you did as a child to play with your friends. After the storm, there's just more clouds waiting. And here comes the next storm. Verse 3.
In the day when the keepers of the house tremble, and
before your legs give away from old age. The knee operations and the knee replacements. How many we already had in this church, in this ministry, because people have gotten older. They turned the corner. They didn't see that knee operation coming. They didn't see that they're getting ready. We got even a young person already that requested prayer because of the knee issues and knee problems. You need a walker. You need a cane. Women not able to walk in the heels that they used to when they were young girls. You can't put certain outfits on because you turned the corner. Your hands, continue, when your hands what?
When the keepers of the house tremble.
When your hands begin to tremble. My hands tremble more now because of my age. And when I go to pick something up, I look at my hands trembling and I say, oh my God, I have turned the corner. Your hands begin to drink. Drinking water and eating food, you notice that there's something then that has come and it's not going away. Continue.
And the strong men bow down.
When the mighty men stoop, because your shoulders begin to stoop and your height is lower because of it. How many of you know that the average man loses 2 inches between 40 and 60 of his height? And a woman loses 1 inch of her height during that same time. How many of you know that is the fact of aging? That you actually get shorter. Between 1 and 2 inches, you're going to lose. You don't see it coming, but it happens when you turn the corner. Continue.
When the grinders cease because they are few.
Because your teeth is falling out. And so you can't grind your food without dentures. But can you afford the ones that stay in your mouth? You know, I have a pastor friend, he's a dentist, and I'm hoping to see him this week. And they wanted to take my front teeth because I have never had a cavity, never. But the last 4 years that I go there, they can put my teeth, both in the ones in front, you can just push them in, and they wanted to take them 4 years ago. And I said, I'm keeping my teeth. See, I'm keeping my teeth. I got all of the originals, but never had a cavity. But so I have but I have bone loss. And so the teeth they're just wiggling in it. And he says, you know, it may fall out. I said, that's when that day you'll put the other replacements in. The day they fall out. I have turned the corner. Continue.
And those that look through the windows grow dim.
Your eyesight begin to lessen. At 40 years old, most all adults, when they turn 40, they come to the place that they can't see within 2 feet without reading glasses. And so the paper that you're reading, it starts to do, you know, and finally you get what I got on my face today. You know, I could see, you may not believe this, but I could, as a little boy, I could read. You could go over a mile, write something on the paper, and I could read it. And I had people that would charge people money to see that. And one day they told me what's happening, and I asked for 50% of what was going on. But today, I can't do that. Today, the man that had that eyesight that was divine from God himself, now wear glasses just to be able to do a message, to read the scriptures. Do you know how humbling it was the first day I got these reading glasses? Continue, verse 4.
When the doors are shut in the streets, and the sound of grinding is low.
That's life opportunities is closed and the sound of work fades. The older you get, the harder it is to get a job. And even though you have the experience, they're looking for youth. And so life opportunities is closed. If you don't take advantage of it when you're young, they will bypass you when you go there for a job or go there for any other type of service. When you come in and you age, they may not even serve you. Continue.
When one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of music.
When you rise up at the sound of the bird, awaken early because you can't sleep. You know what happens as you get older? You wake up sooner. Awaken early because you have to run to the bathroom. Yeah. The bathroom runs wake you up and take you there. They don't, and you may wake up like clockwork every morning at 5:30 or 3:30 or 4:30, and you realize, okay, what woke me up? Your bladder. See, you have turned the corner. Awaken early because you have to take your medications on time because they have to be done every 4 hours. They have to be done every 6 hours. And so you get the alarm clock to wake you up to take your medications, and then you go back to sleep. Your medications demand that you do this timely in order for you to function. In other words, you can't function without your pills. And so hence you notice on your counter, wherever you're keeping, that the pills and the type of pills are growing. You got this, and you got this. You got vitamin this, and you got this for the prostate, and you got this for the immune system, and you got this for the heart, and you got this for the kidneys, and you got this for the liver, and you got this to take you and put you to sleep. You got the clock to wake you up to take the pills that put you to sleep, so you can function. Yes. Continue.
And all the daughters of music are brought low.
Your hearing is lost. Do you know what it is to start losing the hearing? You know, I had something that on the hearing, and I wanted to read it. And and let me see if I can find it. Okay. Women and children naturally have high-pitched voices. These types of sound are often the first to go. Over time, the hair cells inside your ears that send sound waves through the brain become less sensitive. And this is especially, it's harder for especially men to hear women and children because of the pitch and their sound. And that happens because, unbeknown to you, already the hair in your ears is getting less sensitive to certain pitches and sound. And this condition is called, I can't pronounce it, it's presbycusis. And so as we age, they have all of these terms for the different conditions, for the sight, for the hearing, for the smell, for the taste, for feeling, and for touching. They got a word for everything that happened to the age that you have no idea. You got to turn that corner. And so, continue.
Also, they are afraid of height and of terrors in the way.
And so, when people are afraid of heights, that's the fear of falling. Because you know, when you was a kid, you fell and you got up. You fall as an old person, we have to pick you up. Continue verse. When people are afraid of dangers, go ahead.
And of terrors in the way.
People are afraid of dangers in the street. The fear of going out and somebody hurting you or harming you or taking something from you because you can't protect yourself anymore. Continue.
When the almond tree blossoms.
And that's when your hair turned gray. Everybody see, wow, look at your hair. Like me, my beard and my hair is slowly changing, and more the black is going, and the gray and the white is coming. Continue.
The grasshopper is a burden.
You drag along without energy. When the grasshopper is about to drag, it doesn't jump anymore. It crawls. And so you can easily, I used to catch grasshoppers. And as the season went on, it was easy to catch them because then they're dragging. They can't jump because it's an old grasshopper. He has turned the corner. So he pushed his legs off the ground, but he can't get up. And so the grasshopper drags along. You drag along without any energy, like a dying grasshopper. Excuse me, let me do this. Go ahead.
And desire fails.
And nothing inspires your sexual desires like you did when you was youth. And you no longer want sex. And even sometimes you don't even want the intimacy. because you can't perform, especially with men. When they see they can't perform, they put intimacy in their acts and their proudness to be able to perform. And when that is lost, even though they may have intimacy with their sex act, they don't want to be there because they feel they failed the woman, or the woman feels that she failed the man because they can't perform. And so there's an embarrassment, because as you age, certain things come, menopause, and with the women and or whatever they call it for men. Continue.
For a man goes to his eternal home, and the mourners go about the streets.
And so, did we say anything about the capability in verse 5?
Dire fails.
Okay, in the translation I got, it says, the grasshopper drags him, and the caperberry is ineffective. The caperberry, that's a Viagra. That's a drug to arouse a man. In the Old Testament, it was mandrakes. Remember with Rachel and Leah? Yes. Yeah. Because he needed the mandrakes was to help somebody get up named Jacob. Okay. And so Leah said to Rachel, hey, can I buy your husband for the mandrakes? Okay, moving right along. Continue. For the man goes to his eternal home. You will die. It is pointed to man wants to die. And after that, the judgment. Verse 5, the mourners walks in the streets. That means there's a funeral procession. I had 2 funerals this week, Monday and Tuesday. And so there was, I average 1 or 2 funerals every month. And sometimes, like this week, it's already been 2. Yeah. And so there's a procession in the streets, and people watching the funeral procession. There's all of the cars are going with their lights on, and then days you got to have a thing that says funeral in you, because they take pictures of the tags when they're running and going through red lights. Continue. So Solomon is now going to talk about the 3 things that give us life. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 23.
Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ.
So Solomon in Ecclesiastes, when he gets to verse 6, he's going to begin to talk about that, what Paul was talking about, the spirit, the soul, and the body. Because he wants to tell you, you're going around the corner. And our spirit is to communicate with God before God, because God is a spirit. So God put a spirit in us so we could talk to God. But our soul is there to communicate with you. Your conscience even accusing you or excusing you for what you do wrong. So God put a soul in you, which is the conscious part, to tell you that's not right. That's not the spirit that God put in you to communicate with him. So God is able to separate the spirit from the soul and the body and its parts. Our body is to house both the spirit and the soul, that it can communicate with both us directly. So the body talks to you, don't do this. That's hot. It lets you know fire is hot. That burns you. Don't do that. Don't go out on that street. That car can hurt you. So the body is there to let you know what the conscience and God is there telling you, things you can do and things you can do. So verse 6, so we can close this out. Verse 6 and 7, we're going to try to close this out. I only have 5 minutes.
Remember your Creator before the silver cord is loosed.
And so the silver cord, it either holds the soul or the spirit. I'm not quite sure which one it holds, because the silver cord is your spine. Break your spine, and what happened to life? And so when you get old, if you fall and break your spine, you die. If you break your hip, normally people that break their hip in their old age, death follows that. And so he says, before that spine doesn't have the strength and the ability anymore. And so he likened it to silver. Continue.
Or the golden bowl is broken.
And so the golden bowl, that's the membranes of the brain. The bowl breaks. That means you done lost your mind. You know, and remember now, the soul. There's verses where the soul is in the mind, and there's verses where the spirit is in the mind. You know, in the book of Ephesians 4 verse 23, you'll see what I'm talking about. Ephesians 4:23. We'll be coming back to Ecclesiastes, but I just want to put this verse out there.
And be renewed in the spirit of your mind.
So the spirit sometimes is said to be in the mind, and other times the spirit is said to be in the heart. And the way the spirit and the soul is able to travel through the heart to the mind is through your spinal cord. And so it is the highway between the brain and the heart, because the blood is made in the marrow of the bones. Okay? Continue in Ecclesiastes. Let's go back to we in 12 verse 6.
Or the pitcher shattered at the fountain.
And so that is so when you talk about the pitcher, you're talking about the heart. So look at the main things. If you have a heart attack and that thing's shattered, the blood comes out and your life is gone. So you got the brain, the spinal cord, and the heart. So from the heart, the spinal cord connects us to our brain. And so you have spirit, soul, and body. That the spirit and the soul can go back and forth between the brain and the heart. And so if the spinal is broken, it can't travel anymore. And if something happens to the brain, the spirit and the soul can't get into that house. And if something happens and you have a heart attack or a stroke, they can't reside in the heart anymore. And so it says, continue, verse 6 at the end.
Or the wheel broken at the well.
Remember him before the wheel and the cistern is crushed. What happens when you have that stroke, that heart attack, when you fall and break that hip or break that spinal cord? The wheel can't turn anymore. The wheels of life is over. Verse 7 in closing.
Then the dust will return to the earth as it was.
And then what happens when all of that happens? Then the dust will what? Return to the earth as it was. And what will happen to the spirit?
And the spirit will return to God who gave it.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, earth to earth. In closing, Ecclesiastes 9, verse 10.
Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. For there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you are going.
And so you got to turn the corner. But where you're going to the grave. Age is waiting for you. Old age is there, and God has put it in it. If by reason of strength you may get past 80. But he's saying by the time you get to 70, you should already know most of you have already been deteriorated. Romans 12, verse 11. We have two more verses, and then I'm done.
Not lagging in diligence.
12:11. Romans 12, verse 11.
Not lagging in diligence, fervent in spirit.
That's good. You're a different translation. Go ahead.
Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord.
Do not let your zeal subside, it says in my translation. Keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. In Colossians 3, verse 23. Colossians 3, verse 23.
And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men.
Remember now, in your youth, while you got your health, while you got your mind, while you got your strength, do it as unto the Lord what you do, and not to get recognition from man. And in closing, Ecclesiastes 9, verse 5.
For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they have no more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten.
After the funeral, the memory of you will fade. That's the reality of life. And so Solomon said, because wisdom was standing by him, for the living know what that they will die. You have to know before you turn that corner that you're going to die. That your sight is going to go, your hearing is going to go, your taste is going to go. You're going to get shorter. You're going to lose an inch or two. There's so much that's going to go, but it's already going. And so he started, remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil day come. What's waiting for you around that corner is an evil day, age. And so I say to you, labor to please God and let wisdom and understanding give you what they have in their hands. Because as Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, I've seen the joy that God has given. He's given some men health, money, friends, and time. And he gives them wisdom and understanding to know what to do with all of it and to use it. And then to him that is able to keep us from falling, the one that can present us faultless before the throne of grace, the only wise God, our Savior, be majesty, dominion, and power, both now and forever. God bless you.